Our focus for today's conversation is leading innovative frontiers in a stifling business environment. Quite a number of us. How many startups do we have here? Or how many business owners do we have in the audience? Can you just signify by a raise of hand? All right, fantastic. So I'm sure I'm in the right crowd. Yeah. All right, so we'll be focusing on leading innovative frontiers in a stifling business environment. And our strategic focus for today is to glean understanding on how a few startups have been able to create competitive products and services in a tough business climate and against all odds, lead disruptive innovation in various sectors. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us here. All right, so I know that you all run businesses of your own, right? But how have you been able to sustain and lead innovation in your various spheres of professional engagement, knowing that Nigeria is not, we would not say it has the best and most enabling, business environment? I would like to start with you, Tommy.
Good morning. Is it still morning? It's afternoon.
It's afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And thank you for putting me on the spot. All right. I think in very simple terms is understanding that first, always know that money flows towards value. Right? So for me, it was very clear that all I had to do, and Trude, alluded to that a lot when he was speaking, when you understand that all you have to do and focus on is bringing value to the marketplace and understanding the customer's needs. So as an entrepreneur, it's not focusing on profits or simply the fact that you want to make money. It's understanding that money would always flow towards value. So if I wanted to give you an example of my story, so I think for me, like I always say, I had worked for about 5 years in management consulting, and then it was time for me to go do my MBA. And that was when reality struck that I was broke, really, basically broke. So I was basically earning and spending all through my years working. And it was a wake-up call for me. I went to do my MBA. It was a two-year MBA. Don't ask me how I got through. I was subsidized. But, it was immediately after my MBA, first job, first salary, I knew things had to change. So I started an investment club with friends. And at that time, we thought, all we had to do was put money together, start contributing, and we'll start investing, and we'll get rich, right? Get wealthy. And we started to do that first job, first salary. We were, setting aside something. And, we invested in so many things. And when we lost 70% of our portfolio in the first 6 months, another truth emerged that it was clear that we had to go and learn how investing works. So it was one thing to just have money. It was another thing to know how exactly to put that money to work. So that took me on the process to learning, going to meet experts, because there's really no book that shares about investing in Nigeria. So I had to go learn. And I started to blog about it, really, just sharing my experience. And I started to get a lot of emails, people asking me questions and asking, can you share how to invest in treasury bills? Can you share how to do this? And basically, I saw that this was an opportunity to provide value in the marketplace. And I started to tap into that. And before you knew it, I'd built a business. So it wasn't like I set out to start a business. It was something that I kind of stumbled into, but it was also me understanding opportunity when I saw opportunity. It was me focusing on value. It was me also understanding that trust is a currency, very important currency. When people trust you, you really should not take that trust for granted. If they trust you for excellence and credibility in the marketplace, always focus on keeping that. And I also kept evolving. So I didn't say because I started teaching financial education, through my blog, I would just stay. I've evolved into an online course platform. I've evolved into a tech platform. You have to keep evolving and keep innovating. So I would just say that in short terms, yeah.
I really liked two things you made mention of here. You said money flows towards value. If you're not creating value, then definitely you're not going to see the inflow of cash, right? And then something else, you said trust is currency. That is another subject of discussion on its own, because some people don't understand the importance of integrity in running your own business. All right, Evans, I'd like you to share yours as well.
So the thing is, your question is, how do you stay innovative in this environment?
Yes.
I think the first
and
thing
how you
is
started as well.
Okay, how I started
in this stifling environment of ours.
So I think the biggest currency for anyone is your mindset. The way you think is how you are, how you become, and I think that's the most important thing that the majority of us need to change for us to start seeing success from the light we see it. I started out in 2010. That's when I started to do anything concerning my career. I wasn't your best graduating student. I came out with a second class lower in school. Very smart, but school happened. And, okay, you guys can relate. Yeah, school happened. So graduating with that, and even in industrial chemistry, I didn't see myself getting the ideal job I wanted in your Shell, Chevron. You know, back in the day, everyone wanted to be a doctor, engineer, lawyer, and that's all. And I wanted to be a doctor, and from there I studied industrial chemistry, and then I graduated, and I was like, oh, I could work at an oil and gas company, and that didn't also pull through. And it left me a little stuck, but not for too long, which is where some people are. I feel like success is a combination of steps. It's not exactly where you want to get to. It's what are you doing today, and are you doing it right? Because it's all part of the journey, you know? And I started to design. I started to design in 2010. At that time, there were people in the industry that were very, very good at it. And I would look at them and I was like, wow, these guys are so good. The market is so saturated. But guess what? There is an opportunity for the next person. There's always an opportunity. If there are companies today that are attending to the high-class clients, why don't you attend to the smaller clients? Take those ones, prove your credibility. One day you'll be able to sit in the presence of those bigger clients. And so that's why I saw things. I didn't complain too much, which is another problem of the majority of us. We complain about what is not working around us. And before you know it, 5 years has gone by, and you're still praying every Sunday for God to help you. Focus on what is working and start to improve on that. Before you know it, other things start to fall in place. So I started to design. At the time, in 2010, I think when I even knew Chude, I was running 4 jobs in this crazy Lagos. I was an NYC teacher. I was designing for myself. I was a freelance designer for another agency. And I was doing like 4 different things, all design. And whenever he called me, I would show up. I would represent whichever company was to get the work, collect my own cut, move on. It wasn't even about my personal brand. A year after, I said, oh, since I was doing this for a lot of people, I could start a very small brand. And I know what these people charge these large companies. In my small company with my small cost, I can deliver the kind of excellence they deliver, and I can save that company money. Very simple thinking. No MBA. And that's how you want you guys to think. Like, everything is all in your mind. If you can think it, you can be it. It's not hard. Success is super easy. The bar is so low in Nigeria that if you start a business today, the biggest worry is, will you deliver on time? And if you deliver on time, you have the first client. If you treat the first 20 clients well, you're good. You don't need all these books you're reading. 5 books is fine. I'm sorry I'm breaking these tables, but you don't need all these things you're doing. Focus on doing something that people can see and attach excellence to you. And this was my 2011. I started a design company in 2011. It was a Vansakano creative agency at that time.
Sorry, we have like 30 seconds left.
I need to rush off. So at that time I started that company, I got Mnet as a client. I started designing AMVCA far back when it started, way back at that time. In the next few months, I got a job at the company called Jumia Today. From there, I moved to Konga. From there, I left the company and I started my company and I revamped the name. I changed to Crigital. Today, I've worked with over 40 people. They've come through, they've left. We've done work for the biggest brands in Nigeria. And this all started from a very small, I don't want to stay at home and sulk about no job from the degree I studied. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Fantastic, fantastic. He said 2 things as well. Your mindset is extremely important. Success for me starts from the mind. If your mind can't see it, then I'm not sure what your physical can do, really. Then the next is success is a combination of steps. Like Steve Jobs said, you can only connect the dots backwards, but you really can't connect them forward, but just keep moving anyways. All right, let's have you share your experience.
Okay, so for me, there's something I learned in biology called, biology is actually an interesting science, but there's something we call adaptation. And in that adaptation, what you realize is that the most successful species are not always the strongest. They are the most adaptive that succeed. And so I have that thinking in business. I call it biological thinking. And in biological thinking, I always ask myself, how do I survive? So in our 4 or 5 years of business, we have evolved our business model over and over again. First of all, we started out as a vast company creating content. NCC brought regulations, that thing died. And people were closing shops, laying off staff. I had about 34 people to pay, and I wasn't going to lose anybody. So I sat down and I told them, you know what, we had an animation studio, which we were using for passion. And I said, you know what, let's start taking this animation and scale up to do jobs for. That was how we started moving into agency. So agency wasn't what I wanted because I used to feel too much pressure. I worked in advertising before I went to do my master's. And advertising was a lot of work. I mean, we were always giving targets. We were going for meetings. So I'll say to you in this room, if you are interested in going into business, your business model is more important than your business plan. And your business model is asking yourself every day, how can I get money, right? So you can have a 5-year business plan, but there are no guarantees that it will stay the same. Every day you wake up in this country, things are changing. So if you know the stats, about 75% of businesses fail in the first year. Why do they fail? Because you have to adapt. And even to stay as a company, I'm always looking for people that can adapt just as much. So in Nigeria here, one thing I tell you, the world you prepare for no longer exists. So if you're a graduate, if you don't even know, some of us graduated outdated. You graduated and then your degree is no longer relevant. You were studying a lot of things that are not needed in a digital economy. So right now you have to reskill yourself, retool yourself, learn new ways of thinking to survive. And if you're asking yourself, I want to work for Google, that's not the right question. The question is, are you the kind of person Google want to hire? Off the top of my head, I'm not looking to hire a staff. I'm actually looking to hire a partner or looking to hire an entrepreneur. So I hire my type of people who are hungry, who are restless, who want to deliver value. That's how you keep the culture of innovation going in a company. Sometimes I look at my company, they're like a bunch of misfits. But that's where the magic is happening, right? So there's something I always tell people, what is your creative vitae, not your curriculum vitae. Your curriculum vitae is really what you learned in school. And more often than not, you crammed it. Like, curriculum means this is what you studied. The real truth of who you are is found in what you create, not what you studied. So in your creativity, I can look at somebody and I can tell I want to work with this person because I see in him the type of person I need in the company, right? So whether you're a startup or you're an individual or you're even pursuing career, you must have a biological thinking. If you wake up and you don't have a job, don't be looking for a job, create a job. And it's simple as get a skill. Like even in the company now, we're looking for animators to hire. We can't find. Yeah, there are more jobs than animators can carry. So I'm telling people when I see them, if you can illustrate, we go to Yaba Tech. We try to convince them to come and learn animation. Some of them, they don't understand it. They want to do, and it's like you're confusing them. And I'm saying, this thing can pay you 500K every month in another 6 months if you do it right. So why can't you just see where the world is going and go there? Because if you don't go there, if you're not part of the revolution, you're part of the road. The world will leave you behind. So every graduate must learn new thinking. You must learn new ways of approaching the world. You literally have to constantly challenge yourself to bring out the best. This year again, as a company, we've introduced new models of business.
30 seconds. All
right, so every day we wake up, how can we deliver better? This country is a tough place to do business. So you cannot rest on your laurels. You have to constantly ask the question of, I want to add value to people. I want to create something that no longer exists. And in that way, you will never be out of job or broke. Jobs can go, but your skill will remain. So go for skill, not for job. When you have the skills, the jobs will come, and they will keep coming.
Exactly. I totally agree with your point. Thank you so much for that. And one takeaway, he said, some of us graduated outdated. So how much push are you giving yourself to ensure that you remain relevant in this world of ours? Lee Kuan Yew, the former Prime Minister of Singapore, said, the world does not owe you a living. So don't live by the begging bowl. All right, so I'll hand over to my co.
All right, thank you so much. The conversations have been very, very intensive already.
Very.
And I like the fact that we are coming out clear, pragmatic, straight into the conversation and to what the real issues are. And that leads me to our next question, basically. I know we have a challenge around entrepreneurial education in this part of the world. So people want to switch from 8 to 5 to start their own businesses, but they are not well educated about what it takes to do business in this kind of environment. And the conventional business schools, and like you mentioned, you need a business model way more than a business plan. And that is really, very true. So in terms of entrepreneurial education now, I would like us to in specific sense, what have been your major challenge in leading innovation in this part of the world?
Imagine someone that starts a business of online laundry in 95 in Nigeria. Nice business, wrong timing. Yeah. You have to focus on your audience every blessed day. Think like them, understand what they want, understand their business. Your business is there to serve the users, not to serve you. So in as much as you want, and truth is this, in business, there are principles that stand sure across time. The story about, the thing about brand audience, your tone of voice, all of these things are always there, but the methods might change, the main factors might change. So you guys need to understand that if you're working with SMEs, you need to understand what are the SMEs' pain points and let their pain points drive what you're doing in business. People ask, the greatest question in business is, why are you doing what you're doing? Which problem are you solving? So you have to look at business as it's not just your plaything, it's you solving a problem.
And then leverage on Instagram and social media, not to just be tweeting and be looking for trouble. Like your Instagram should be a place where if I want to look for the best person that does portrait illustration, I can dial you up and I find you. So it's not when you're doing portrait today, you're posting somebody that's sleeping with another person's girlfriend. Only you're just following, you're just making noise. Understand that in the world we live, there is too much noise. Just clean your page. Make sure everything you post is actually something that reflects what you want to represent. Because every time I want to hire, we're shooting a TVC for a client. Guess where we went to look for dancers? On Instagram.
So the principle I always say, and has really worked for me, is kill the lion, kill the bear. And this is what worked for David. And it's really related to starting small and thinking big. So a lot of people forget that before David could actually go and say he wanted to kill Goliath, he had the what's the word now? He was enamored because he had killed the lion and he had killed the bear. So always focus on starting small. And I'll share an example. Whatever you're going to do, start with a pilot. So for instance, I started blogging and people started sending me emails saying, oh, why don't you do this? So I said, you know what, I'll build a framework around the investment clubs that I always talk about. And I had the first workshop, 10 people paid. I said, okay, 10 people were willing to pay me 10,000 naira each. Let's move on to the next step. And then taking feedback, the next workshop, 30 people, the next workshop, 50 people. And then I realized that I had a lot of people outside the country asking me questions. And I thought, you know what, I need to start an online course platform, right? And I evolved into that. And I said, okay, let me see how I can tweak this, tweak that, tweak that. It was always about killing the lion, killing the bears, taking one step at a time, and then biting the next big thing. Because a lot of us focus on the next big thing, you want to do this, and you get very overwhelmed, all right? Focus on getting results, even if it's a small result. Use that as a pedestal to step onto higher things. So by the time I said, okay, let me start this online course thing, 35 people paid, South Africa, London, UK, US, they all joined the platform. Today, I have 600 members across 11 countries. This year alone, we have invested over $1 million. That is me, taking one step at a time. If I wanted to share another pilot test that I run, one of the passions I have is to get people investing, right? Financial education. And for me, it was always, how can I start a project to help women invest in real estate? I know firsthand the challenges women face with Omodile, get harassed, so many issues with owning real estate in Lagos. And I thought, okay, let me run a pilot. And I reached out to TFD, Tarafela Jorote, and I said, you know what, I can help you. This is me bringing value, right? I knew she wanted to help our mentees, and I brought value. And we started it, 40 young women, helped them own real estate. And I learned so much in that process. I'm so glad that I decided to start small, right? So many lessons. I got a real estate education. I can tell you everything about real estate in Lagos now from A to Z on Monili, and there are no books on it, trust me. How to get land records, nothing, because this was me immersing myself in the process, right? And we did that, and it was a 2-year project. We're in the 22nd month now. We're going to end in July. But guess what? I'm about to bite the bullet to help 1,000 women. And guess who is partnering with me? A big institution. So it's about starting small, but focusing on the big thing, right? But going through the process to learn at every step. Immerse yourself in the learning process. Trust me, it is very important what you learn as you're growing, all right? So kill the lion, kill the bear, and then you can face Goliath. Those are my principles.
If you observe, just like Chideti said, he said, one good thing about life is if you are able to listen. I am a very big observer of life. You can't plant an already grown tree. You always have to plant the seed itself. So like they all said, start small and grow big.
What I've come to realize is in community, you can actually get access to businesses. But you have to be deliberate about the kind of community you want to build. I've also told Nigerians, if you don't get ego out of the room, and if you don't get greed out of the room, you cannot build a successful business in this place. Or even if you build the business, give it time, it will crash. Greed and ego are two things that can destroy. Most times, I would say this very carefully. And guys, remember this. Everyone indeed can be an entrepreneur, but not everyone should. And I remember back in the day, there was a book that came out that trended, "Fire your boss and be your own boss." And everybody started to throw that line. But there are more things involved in succeeding as an entrepreneur than just you wanting to be independent. Sometimes you might need a partner. So you might look for somebody that can work with you to build. It's not about who is the CEO or who is the CEO. We get so caught up in card and name and titles. It's the danger and the limitation of a black man. Titles and labels have nothing. Build something that can outlive you. Build something, even if you have to be the CMO, forget the titles. Build something and let the value be there. So at any point in time, when you come into community, it should not always be about what you get. It should also be about what you give. We live in a take culture. And like Evans is saying, opportunities are here though, but for you to access those opportunities, you need more than just a good naming company. In the last 10 years, almost 80% of the startups that have been funded by hubs have failed because a lot of people jumped into the tech bubble and they were solving for PR. They were not solving for problems. And they can get all the PR at interviews, but when the push comes to shove, the real things that can make you money, the utilities, may not have a shine. So when you're looking for the glories and the package, those things can be seductive. But you have a nice sounding company in VI, you're not making money. I have a lot of friends whose companies have folded. It was highbrow areas in Lekki and VI. And having all those monies cannot save the day. So when it comes to creating value, first of all, what are you solving? I have people there's a friend of mine, he started washing cars in malls. The guy now has 4 malls. Like they wash cars. As you're watching movie, they're washing your car. So for me, it's double advantage. I don't have to waste time. My car is being washed. As I finish movie, I drive. So the guy has 4 malls already. Now, washing car is making money for him far than anything else he has built. He used to run one Fix-It app. The app, he pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, right? And, app, we think is just, app downloads is difficult. To get app download, you need to push and you need marketing budget. So it's not about, I'm building this app. How are you going to solve it? How are you going to sell it? So let's come away from all the hype and let's solve for the substance. Focus on solving real problems every day you wake up and look for partners that can work with you to build. You will build something that can outlive you when you focus on these things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, yeah. Wow, interesting conversations, really. And I hope we're learning a lot.
Gospel,
and we have a lot of takeaways.
So rich
yes,
in
it has
content.
Been. It has been. Thank you so much once again for your time. So, yeah, in the spirit of, let's use the word vulnerabilities now, I think it would be nice if you can share with us maybe 2 or 3 of your major lessons that you've learned. You can probably share part of the mistakes you made, but the major lessons you've learned so that we can leave here going to apply those things on Monday morning. We have a challenge, like I mentioned earlier on, with entrepreneurial education. And Evans, you mentioned a lot of things around sharing your stories in a tough climate like this to encourage others to keep pushing on. So what are those mistakes that we have made as young startups? And then what are the major lessons that you've learned that has really fostered the change that you want to see in your organizations? Right. We'll start with Evans.
I'm trying to think of the challenge now because it comes every day. The latest challenge is the traffic is just mad. Traffic is just mad. So Gokada is the solution. This is not a paid post. I just remembered. But traffic is a problem. I'm sure you didn't expect that problem, but it's a problem if you run business because it's not just traffic, it's logistics, it's delivering, it's being in the meeting on time, it's everything connected to just road network. And talent is one major problem that many people can relate with. And I will speak to that challenge, and it's not a challenge for me so much because it was at a certain time, but now I sort of just fixed it. I realized that the truth is this. In Nigeria, we were not taught to collaborate, we are taught to compete. If you understand that, you have peace of mind, and you will live long and prosper. So, nobody will work for you for a long time. The average person in Nigeria thinks be your own boss and fire your boss. And the truth is this. Yes, you can start a company. Anyone can. But don't be deceived that because you're a rebel at where you work, it means that you're an entrepreneur. Because I'm a living example. Did you see my own slide? How many times do you see my face? I am a grass worker, like I'm a service worker in my company. I work as CEO as well as chief servant. I give you a task, and what is important to me is not for you to die doing that work. It is, if you hit any challenge, please meet me. I have done this for so long, I want to help you. Why? The client has paid our company for this work to get done. They don't care about who is doing this work, so my own aim is to solve their problem. It doesn't matter who is doing the work. And this is mindset you need to get into business. A lot of people will start companies and run as a lone ranger. I would advise you not to do that, because while you think someone wants to steal your idea, that thing is old story. Nobody steals ideas. Well, they will steal your idea. They can't steal your implementation. They can't steal how hard you work. If you are truly going to start a company or you run a company, please work as hard as you can work in that company. You are inspiring one of your staff to look at you and say, I love the way this guy is working. I love the way this lady is working. And truth is this, you have to inspire people. Look beyond the people that you are working with. Don't try to cage them, because they can't truly be caged. The truth is this, why they join your company, they will see opportunities. They will see you doing it in the daytime. You know, you only see your boss in the daytime. You don't know if they cry at night. You see them in the daytime, and they are just, doing it so well, and you're like, I can do this in the next 2 years. But it's not like that. Nobody knows the thinking that happens at night. An entrepreneur works from when he wakes up to when he sleeps. Even sometimes he dreams of this problem of the company and dreams of how to solve them. So you have to understand that if you're hiring people, inspire them, yeah? That's a challenge. Staff I'm talking about. But inspire even people outside there, because beyond them, when they choose to go, you have people to replace them. If you look at the population problem in Nigeria, you realize that the talent is not entirely the problem. The problem there is the right people, the right attitude for work. And so, young people, if you build your attitude, yes, skill is important. Attitude is importanter. Because if you have the right attitude, you can learn anything. The skills you've learned in school is now outdated. You will learn new ones only if you have the attitude to listen. So really, build your attitude and to solve that problem. I only talk about talent problem. They have other problems, I'm sure. Entrepreneurs have problems everywhere.
I think, so for me, health is important. Please don't ever take your health for granted, especially sleep. So I think it was last year, I was about to launch my book. It was a very stressful time. My husband was working out of town. I was at home, just trying to do everything with 2 children and trying to get things out. And I was probably sleeping like 3 hours every day. And I had a car accident. I literally slept off while driving. Like, it was really bad. I crashed into the car in front of me, and I crashed into the other car. And if you ask me what happened 5 seconds before that crash, I have no idea. My system shut down, and I just woke up to a crash. And, he taught me so much about understanding that, look, you have to rest. Your health is important, physical health, mental health. Do your annual health checks if you can. Eat healthy so that you don't have to spend money unnecessarily. Yes, thank God there were no fatalities in the accident, but it was me stepping back and saying, after really working hard, and then I'll just have a car accident and you know what, something happens to me and I'm gone. Right, so health is very important. Don't take health for granted. Take care of yourself. Don't let the stress. Nigeria is very stressful. I can give you that for free. Nigeria is very stressful. No lights, no this. Data is expensive. But it's in your mind. Try and find your place of peace where you actually find, some consciousness and where you can be happy. Surround yourself with people that keep you not just motivated, but just keep you, healthy. Healthy relationships are very important. Have this group of friends that you can just call and say, man, I'm really stressed right now. Let's just talk. How is it going with you? Let's meet somewhere. Let's talk. You don't have to go to a fancy restaurant. Let's just meet up somewhere and just talk through your problems. Sometimes just sharing it with someone is very helpful. So please don't work in isolation. It's very important, like you said, to think about collaborating, sharing. A lot of us are so, I don't want anybody to steal my idea. By sharing, sometimes it even gives you a lot more clarity. Just sharing with someone gives you clarity, like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about it that way. So health is important. have a good, healthy circle of friends that can give you that balance as well. When you begin to get your ego, swelling up and say, oh, I'm this, I'm that, they would keep you in check, like, calm down. You're just taking yourself too far. So I think those are my 2 important lessons, very important.
Okay, an important lesson I learned last year was you have to build different layers for your company. So apart from your staff and the senior management, we had now to get a board of people that can look from outside and give us insight and advice. Because to my mind, we're building a global company. We're not building a local company. And it takes more than just what you know to get that done. And one other thing I sort of realized, the team is everything, right? So I tend to now listen to the team. I think I could easily be very, very pushy or very driven about something and have my blind spots. And sometimes it hurts the company. So for me now, I'm learning to listen a lot to people who work with you because they see. And one thing that I've also tried to do, they're not working for me, they're working with me. They're not building for me, we're building together. And I've made it clear in the way that even in terms of the policy, we're introducing equity stock options like they do it abroad so that they know that they are building their future. And those of them that have the sense to want to stay will do that. People will leave you, people will come. But treat them well. Because when they leave you, they will be ambassadors of your company and they will always bring referrals. Honestly, some of our ex-staff have been very, very helpful in pulling jobs wherever they are going. They always bring leads in and all that. So it's good to treat them well and know when to scale as an entrepreneur. So last year we made some money, right? And we scaled very quickly. And that scale was a huge failure. So we woke up and we had like 50-something people. And we were struggling because there was a hybrid of culture. We poached people from here and there, and the company was struggling to find identity and culture. Every day was like we're putting out fires. We now had to get an external consultant who recommended that this can't work, and some people were redundant. We had to let go of 30 people one day. It was very tough for me at the time, and some of them even are still very upset. That's why they didn't vote for me. But in a sense, those things were avoidable, right? The process through which, being the entrepreneur that I am, I was seeing opportunities everywhere. Not every opportunity is yours. So you have to know when to go for it and when to go with somebody. But at any point in time, don't stretch your company beyond the capacity. And now I'm learning to build people ahead of time. I'm building both for the future and for now. So lastly, that's something I need to keep your eyes on the ball and the future. So last 2 years, we were playing around with animation in our studio. We sent people to go learn animation. We were buying equipment for animation and games because I just wanted that to do animation and stories. But guess what? 2 years into the game, it became our USP, right? And they were producing the first feature film from Africa, from West Africa, that is a full-length animation film, adaptation of a book, Passport of Malam Ilya, that we read in secondary school. And we have all these foreign investors who are coming now. And guess what? They are paying us to do our dreams. So we sit and build our dreams and earn money. It's the best deal I can ever have. Mm-hmm. And I came there not by conspiring or manipulating my way into it. It was just by following intuition and keeping my eyes on the future. So I would encourage you, keep your eyes on the future, keep learning. Because ultimately, you can only understand sometimes looking with the benefit of hindsight, looking backwards. But so take your steps, take them boldly, learn your lessons, but don't define yourself as a failure. Rise up after every fall and keep going. Right? Let the lessons be with you, but do the best you can each time.
Thank you so much to all of our panelists. Please, I think they deserve a very loud round of applause. This is what you pay for in some places, okay? Thank you very much. I was going to ask the advice they have for each entrepreneur, but obviously they did mention one or two things during the course of the conversation. So I'll open the floor now to questions. If you have questions, you can just show by a raise of hand, or if you've got it written down on paper.
All right, because of time, so we'll just take two, one male, one female for now. But if you have further questions, please write it down, pass it to us. We'll get a way to have your questions answered, and then please include your email address as you're writing your questions. Please include your email address so that we can email it back to you. So just one person here, and can I have a female? A female? A female? Okay, I'm told I could extend it a little, so I have two males, two females. All right, I'll go with you first, while we encourage the females to ask the questions. Your name, what you do, your question.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Akinola Oluwarotimi, the creative director at Romo Couture. Romo Couture is a company where we train competent and passionate professionals to handle your wardrobe needs. But I'm really mad this morning. Trust me, that's the word. I'm mad. I'm mad about what I do. And somebody really got me mad this morning. I can't imagine. I started fashion since 2011. I'm being real right here. I'm mad. Trust me. I started fashion since 2011. I mean, put up a lot of stuff together, did a fashion documentary, and I woke up this morning on Instagram and somebody was telling me, brought up a company using the name of my brand as the name of his company. And you're telling me you're not stealing my brand name. I'm mad. Trust me. I've been thinking about what to do about it. We have a lot of mad people here, but we are condoning it. I'm not condoning my madness. I'm really mad. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in essence, his question is, his identity and his business idea has been stolen by someone for something he has done a lot of work for. So what should he do next? I'll take one more questions, then we can answer.
So do we have a girl? Because, okay, there's a lady there.
There's a lady, finally.
Right there.
Good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Wongpo. I have a perfume line. I make perfumes and I sell the normal designer ones. I've been doing this for like 3 years now. And I don't know, I still maintain the same customers I have. And I'm like, I really want to, expand. I've been trying every other means, social media, doing so many things, and I still can't get it. I don't know if you can give me something.
Okay, she's been servicing a certain number of customers for this number of years. How can she expand as she scale up? So Evans wanted to answer the first question.
I wanted to help the guy.
Yes, please, go ahead now.
Can you give me a mic? Okay. So we can talk. What's your brand name, sir?
The name of my brand is Romo Couture. Romo Couture.
Roman Couture.
Romo Couture.
Romoro Couture.
Yes, please.
So, why are you guys laughing now? You will learn from this. So there's under Romoro Couture on Instagram.
No. There's Trado Culture. The name of my brand is Romo Couture. But our product name, there's a particular product that we made some times ago. It's called Trado Culture. And we also did a fashion documentary in respect to this.
Mm-hmm. Let's do one after the other.
Okay then.
So let's just say someone has used Trado Couture on Instagram, right?
Yes, please.
The truth is this, if there can only be a counterfeit because it's an original. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, please.
Because, there has to be something to emulate. Dude, you have to see these people as they're complimenting you. They are copying you because they cannot ask you for what you do, and they are trying to steal your name, thinking the magic is in the name. The magic is in your brand, is in your service offering, is in your customers, is how you deliver to them. Nobody can steal these things from you. No one can steal the amount of nights you will stay awake working on your fashion business. No one can steal the amount of time you will go out there making sure you are delivering on time to your consumers. You are worried about the wrong things. Change your mindsets. Leave these guys. This thing is easy.
I think I need to come. I think I need to come in here, sir.
Okay, enjoy.
A couple of 3 weeks ago, I met a lady. They're preparing for a film festival. We discussed, and we also do costuming for movies and all. Now we spoke, and she after a while she told me to send my business plan to her. I did. Now after sending the business plan, looking at the whole thing, there is a pointer that I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. There's a pointer that they've copied the blueprint of my business plan, and I'm really mad about this whole thing because I called him this morning, and when I spoke with him, he couldn't have something to say.
Okay, hold on. I want to plead with you to stop focusing on the wrong things. We talked about audience today. Who is your target audience? The people copying you or your customers? Like, if you keep focusing on the people competing with you, they are not your end users. When I started design, there are people in the design industry. I used to put my design up in a design gallery where designers would criticize my work. And I didn't even get enough encouragement. But I ignored the other designers. I started focusing on the end users. And they started to tell me, oh, you are really good at what you do. If you keep focusing on these guys, more people will copy you if you are good enough. When they stop copying, it's because you're no longer good enough.
Thank you.
Okay, it's a good point because I had a similar experience like 8 years ago. We're doing a stage play, and we sent a proposal to a big company we wanted to partner with. They took us out, right? And there was no NDA, there was nothing. I also understand this feeling. But trust me, the idea was badly executed. I went to watch the stage play. It was nothing like what I had in mind. I'll still do it when I have time. Now, I'm busy making money. That one will come. That one is even play. But see, if you care about these things, this is the age of intellectual property. So at some point, you have to do the trademark for whatever you create. And it gives you a legal basis to make a case if you have to pursue it in court. Someone like Evans or even maybe myself, I don't bother about anybody copying. I just keep moving. But some people care about it. And it is okay. That's who you are. You care about protecting your thing. Then protect it and do it right. Get your copyright right. Get your trademarks right. Get all the intellectual assets. Because if you go to the court now or you present a case, even if when you sit down with them, they have a conversation. Where did you get this name from? These are documentaries. Some of them will say, so sorry, I didn't even know. And honestly, some of them might not even know about this. They just stumble because straddle culture is quite a name that someone can easily think around. Okay, we have this traditional brand. We want to speak to culture. Friends will say, call it straddle culture. That's how, if you work in an agency, ideas are dime a dozen. We just keep churning. So at the end of the day, what you need to, if you're attached to these things, do a trademark for them as much as possible. Then when you see people copying it, reach out to them and have a conversation, right? If you have the basis for law, they will withdraw, right? And even if you have to pursue the case in court, do you have your trademarks? Do you have all the intellectual assets to give the legal basis? That creating it or be the first to launch doesn't mean you own it, right? And the pace of change in social media, every day, the volume of what is created is way, way more. So 24 hours, your content is outdated. So you constantly have to keep recreating. So, but again, I would add to your Evans's point, try and focus on expanding your product offering. And I'll plug it into a question. When you come to a point where you're stuck in your business with the same customers, possibly, I hope they're not just family and friends. All right, but if they are, there are three things you always have to need to do. Look at your product line. It might be a point where you might need to introduce a new product line that can cater to people, right? So you either introduce a product line or grow your network. So doing what you've always done and expect a different result isn't always the way to go. So you have to grow a new network. Maybe join Tommy's business club, investment club, and then meet new community of people that you can show that product to. And again, sometimes it's not even about doing social media. It is the way they tell the story. All right, I think a lot of products fail at the marketing point because the language or the narrative or the story they're using to convey it is not pulling people into the experience of the product. So if you want to get it, get an expert that can sit down with you and help you dissect how that story can be constructed and effectively communicated. And that might help you break. I think that any good product, when the marketing is done right, will sell. I don't know that there's a law that can break this. All right?
I also think that when thinking about your product, right, always focus on the job to be done. Because when you understand that, okay, what you're helping customers do is smell better, smell nice. Lagos is very polluted, right? You step out and you're smelling nice and you have a very strong narrative. Think about how you can bundle that product with something else that is relevant to that customer, right? Think about bundling, collaborations, and partnerships. I give you an instance. So when I started my online course platform, I started it, right? But I wanted to launch my book. And I needed the first, 1,000 people to buy or more people to buy. And I thought, okay, what's the fastest way to do this? And I also needed to raise cash immediately. So what did I do? I bundled my book with my course platform, right? And I raised 2 million in a day, right? People paid for it immediately because they saw the value of the bundle. So think about products you can bundle your perfume with, right? That can help your products move faster in terms of products. Also think about partnerships. And then think about how you can include it in boxes, hampers, or something. It's all part of collaborations, partnerships. So focus on how you can bundle partnerships, collaborate with other people to get your own product moving.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for them. Thank you. 2 more questions from that angle. Okay, a male, a female. Someone has a written question. Okay, please, let's honor that.
Okay, she says, what if your dream is big? How do you start small in the big industry? Hope you get it. What if your dream is big? How do you start small in a big industry? That's what she asks.
What's the industry? It'd be good to know
Am
what
I also
industry.
allowed to make comments as well? As moderator, can I
Yes,
also
yes,
make
please.
comments
Yes,
as
please.
well? Okay.
What,
Power.
what
Power.
industry?
Issue
Power.
of power, yes.
Okay, first of all, everybody wants to start big. Everybody has big dreams. The question is, can you afford it? Do you even have the capital for the big dreams? So when we say start small, it's not a humbling advice. It is a reality check. So because at the end of the day, it's other people's investment you want to use and be experimenting. So my point is, it's really about you growing and understanding the industry before you get to the point where you can then scale. Scale will happen when the right time comes. So if you say it's power, power is huge and in cost intense, except you are coming up with an innovative product that can help to bring, then at that point in time, do a prototype. That is how you start small. And then pitch your prototype to investors or companies that can then come alongside you to provide more options, right? That's what I think.
Power industry. Starting small means today there is not enough power in Nigeria. You can start to be the one selling LED lights. LED lights consume less power and they last longer. You're selling those lights, people know you that this person sells smart electric items that save your power consumption. You go from there to solar energy. You now sell inverters, you now sell solar inverters and stuff like that. From there, you start, you guys understand what I'm saying, right? So you can actually start small with little capital you have. Freddy is right, you can't, the idea is to dream big, but you're supposed to grow into the person that can achieve those dreams. While you're where you are, so it's always something around you. Start with what is around you. You can start with things as simple as lights, to inverters, to other energy options. And from there, you can now start to do your PHCN if that's how big the idea is.
I think process is very important, right? Always good to think about process and going through the process. So one of the things you probably know about the power industry is that they're really big players in the industry. So you need to determine the niche you want to play in, right? And find the customer segment you can start testing with, like you said, really fast, right? And then once you do that, think about it. It also helps you pivot because sometimes we think that we have an idea that is good for the marketplace and then the market doesn't want it. That's why it's very important to start small. So we're not saying start small because, okay, fine, you can that's what you can afford. But you also you learn a lot of lessons, right? Because you might bring something to the marketplace and people say, oh, and nobody buys it, for instance. And that's always the first lesson for you to know that this is probably not the product. Let me go back to the drawing board and retweak this product, add some things. So that process is very important. And it also helps you pivot to eventually find the right thing that people are ready to buy and pay for. So don't, thinking big is good, but starting small is very important because of the lessons you will learn during the process.
Thank you very much. And our last questions for today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. My name is Chinemel Mokeke. I'm a couple. I just moved to Lagos. I'm starting on Monday. My question is, most of the businesses I see in Lagos, most of the clients, it's like they're all around Lagos. Maybe you're outside, you have investors from outside of Nigeria. But this is from my viewpoint. It's almost as if the rest of Nigeria is ignored. I might be wrong, but I'm just saying. So it's almost as if people in Zamfara or Jigawa, the businesses here in Lagos do not really see them as customers or clients. So how then can someone, maybe it's a comment, how can you build something that affects the entirety of Nigeria, not just the rich, but even the massively poor people? You understand? Because I feel like maybe that's where you get more value. The majority, though not the richer people, are poor people. So how can we build something or collaborate such that whatever we do affects the entirety of Nigeria? Thank you.
Okay. As we wait for your views, let her ask her question.
My question is directed towards Freddie. I'm sorry, I'm really shy, so I just had to write the question down. I love animation, and I'm planning 3D animation, as in that's what I see the future as. And so my question is, how did you go into animation? How were you able to learn the skill? What are the advice you can give for those going into animation?
Okay. I'll answer his question first, and I'll come to that. You're talking about Lagos is called the commercial nerve center. And it happens in many other countries where a particular state or region is where you have a huge collection of entrepreneurs or business people. And so 80% of the income that flows through Nigeria always passes through Lagos is a design. But the problem to fix that and distribute opportunities across Nigeria is not just the job of an entrepreneur. It's actually the job of the government. All right? So that is what government should do, using policies to open up all the things they have in exclusive list or recurrent list, open up opportunities in other states. Again, if you're doing a product and you're asking, how do I want to serve? I think the right question is what we call your target market. When you zero in on target market, it's not that wide. Right? A lot of it, the target market, people think we have mass markets, but when you begin to profile your market, you realize we have micro markets, just masquerading as mass markets. So at every point in time, your target market will give you your point of entry. If your product is such that would work in rural areas, you know that data or digital might not be the best way to reach those people, because a lot of them are removed from the digital landscape and they don't have connectivity. So you would have to start thinking mortar, not tech. So you have to think both tech and mortar. But again, it dials back to what I want everybody to keep in mind as we have this conversation. For me, politics is not a part of us. It is an essential part of all that we are. So whether you're a businessman, if the policies that are driving business is not done right, we'll always have the question as, must you move to Lagos to survive in Nigeria? And I say that is it. I actually tell my friends who are outside of Lagos, I don't know that you can get a good paying job here. A lot of the jobs there are on gainful employment. So until we begin to do policies that can open up that space, we would always have opportunities trickle into Lagos and then move into Lagos and trickle down in other places. In terms of 3D animation, in and of myself, I am not an animator yet. I don't know if I'm going to learn, but I'm a strategy mind, so I really know where it's going. But I say if you're an animator, you have to enroll in one of the training academy. In our company, we have interns that we pay who are on internship for 6 months, 1 year. And after the internship, we actually employ them. But we also have short courses that people come to take every so often. So you want to come there, and then they always have software that they're stumbling into. So you, again, dials back to community. Have to find a community of animators that can share knowledge with you, help you upscale your challenges that you have, and learn. So after now, I can give you a contact to the 3D guys and see how you can plug into what they do, and then you can take it off from there.
Okay, does anyone else have something to say before we wrap up? All right, so finally, I think I also want to respond to the lady who says she sells oil. One question, how often do you hug people? Weird question, right? Oh, you don't even hug people. How do you want me to smell your perfume? Come on, left to me, right? I'll start hugging like a mad person. Somebody will have to tell me, wow, you smell nice. Yes, I sell perfume, or I sell body oil. Like that is, my friend makes very amazing documentaries in the office. Yesterday I said to her, it shouldn't just end by posting it on your story that Stephanie Busari of CNN sent you, or reposted on her own story that you did a very good documentary. I want you to post it on your Instagram, tag her and tag CNN, and I promise you she's going to comment on that. That is accrediting how good you are with your job. She did it yesterday, before the end of business yesterday. Stephanie Busari of CNN commended her, and it was so fantastic. You need to look for creative ways to help sell your products, honestly. Everything you want is just there. You just need to think of the best way.
To add to your point, sorry to cut, it just occurred to me that, you know when I said focus on the job to be done? Someone like me now, I really don't go to the market for anything. I have people that just deliver it to my house. Why don't you create a bundle, a product that gives me maybe 100 ml of perfume with something, with soap, and then take it to women in their offices and say that this is something that can have delivered to you every month, and they will pay for it. Always think about the solution. What is the problem I'm helping this person solve? I don't want to have to look for buying some basic things I use for myself every week if somebody delivers it to me monthly. So always go the extra mile and think about the job to be done. Everyone wants to smell nice and not, smell like look. So yeah, I just wanted to add to that point.
Just to add a few thoughts as we close this session. I think it's necessary for us to keep in touch with a few reforms that the government is currently churning out on ease of doing business, right? I don't work with the government, and this is not to promote them. I'm an economist, so I follow the trends. As much as, yes, the infrastructural and all those big things are not in place yet, there are simple reforms that are ongoing that can improve your ease of doing business. And one place you can find them is pebec.org. And when you have complaints or issues with any government institution, right, please go to reportgov.ng to send in your complaints and your ideas on how these things can improve. I can assure you that there's a strong feeder system behind where they get all these things from. So please learn to interact with government reforms. It goes a long way. We've been saying these things for years and years, but finally there is some level of seriousness in ensuring that the ease of doing business improves. So let's interact with reforms.
All right, thank you very much. It has been a very amazing conversation. Once again, kindly put your hands together for our panelists.